What's up everybody? So today we're going to take a full look at the 2017 Ford Escape Titanium with the EcoBoost engine. And the model we're looking at today is finished off in a ruby red metallic, is a titanium trim level, has the 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine with front wheel drive, and had an original MSRP just over $30,000. But with many Ford incentives, you can expect to get this type of trim level for about 26 grand. Underneath the hood of the new Escape, you have 3 different engine options and 2 different drivetrain layouts. You have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, a 2 liter EcoBoost turbocharged engine, and then like I said, this one has the 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine, which means it's a 4-cylinder engine with a turbocharger. It cranks out 179 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. And this one is a front-wheel drive model, sends the power through a 6-speed shiftable automatic transmission, and then of course sends the power to the front wheels. The overall curb weight of this model is about 3,500 pounds, and I expect to see 23 miles per gallon in the city with 30 on the highway, all off a 15.7 gallon fuel tank. The car has an overall wheelbase of 105.9 inches, a minimum ground clearance of 7.9 inches, and an overall height of 66.3 inches. This features disc brakes in all 4 corners with 12.8-inch ventilated discs up front with a 12-inch solid disc in the rear. For the 2017 model year, Ford did a minor refresh to the popular Escape. The new front grille is much more aggressive than the previous generation, much larger opening, giving it a really nice look to it. You have LEDs in the headlights with daytime running lights, projector headlights, nice fog lights down below with some silver trim in the lower bumper. And then a little bit hard to see are the active grille shutters behind the front grille. They'll actually open and close depending on aerodynamic needs and cooling needs. They're in the upper and the lower portion of the grille. Overall, the front end is pretty sharp looking. Get some nice contours in the hood. Leading onto the front quarter panel, there's a little fake vent, giving it a little bit of extra flair. And being the titanium trim level, you get a nice looking set of aluminum colored wheels. The side profile remains the same for this generation of the Escape. Has a great looking proportion both front and rear. Overall, the size is really nice. It's easy to drive and easy to park. Get some nice looking chrome trim below the windows, integrated turn signals in the mirrors, body colored door handles, silver roof rails. Coming along to the rear, new for 2017 is the black trim on the taillights. They give it a little bit bigger appearance with a little more aggression. We get the parking sensors in the rear with a backup camera, dual exhaust system, more silver trim to match the front bumper. The rear end looks really good on this car. I think the taillights give it a little bit wider appearance than the previous generation. We have a power liftgate. Backup camera is located under the Ford logo. There are different ways to get into the new Escape with Ford Smart Key. If I go ahead and lock the vehicle and then double tap on the engine start button, the car remote starts, which is a pretty nice feature to have. Then we'll just press it again, turn off the vehicle, and keeping the key in my pocket, all you have to do is grab the door handle and it'll automatically unlock. This particular spec has the medium light stone tan leather interior throughout, giving it a very light and open appearance. The door panel has some nice two-tone colors on it, a comfortable armrest, an easy to grab handle. All 4 windows are automatic up and down. You have all your mirror controls, lock and unlock, and your memory seating. A little bit of storage in the door pocket as well. Then coming down to the power adjusting seat, the tan leather trim, nice stitching along it. They're very comfortable seats, very supportive, easy to get in the right position, both supportive on the base and in the lumbar. Very nice looking seats. Then the dash looks similar to all the newer Fords, has some great contours to it. Full leather wrapped steering wheel with all your Bluetooth and audio controls and cruise control settings. And keeping the key in my pocket, I'll go ahead and tap the engine start button. The driver's seat does have the comfort entry, so you'll hear the seat move. All the electronics come to life. You have your tachometer on the left side, your fuel level and engine temperature in the center, your speedometer on the right side, and then the digital display in the center will show a lot of different features. Using the buttons on the left side, we'll go ahead and go through some of the settings. Just scrolling down, you can check out your digital speed, your trip, average fuel economy, your instant fuel economy, more trips and timers. You can get a good look at all 4 of them. And then going left, you can go down to different settings. Many things you can configure. And this car does feature a set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. You have your high beams and turn signals, and the wiper blade stalk on the right side. Over on the left, we have your headlight controls, your dimmer switch, power liftgate, and then your fog lights. Some black chrome trim around the left air vent. Then coming along the dash, we get to the whole infotainment setup. This has the Sync 3. Your CD player is up top there. Opening and closing for the vents. Very large vents in the top, and then you actually get smaller ones down below. The infotainment system is pretty easy to use, just like your cell phone. You can just swipe like a normal phone. You can check out all your different settings, change quite a few things. You can even change the ambient interior lighting, camera settings. You have your eject button, sound, your display. You can shut that on and off. And then your actual radio controls, your volume is in the center. Your hazard switch. And then coming down below, we have all your climate control settings. Dual zone climate control, your fan speed on the top. Digital screen will show the actual temperature. Heated seats with 3 different settings. Your engine start button. Then some nice black trim on the lower portion of the dash. Slight metallic color to it. And this also features an engine start-stop feature. You can turn it on and off if you'd like. You have your traction control button. Leather wrap shift boot on the shifter. We'll go ahead and pop it right into reverse. Backup camera pops up. Turning the steering wheel changes the guidelines. And with the parking sensors, you can actually see a nice display showing exactly how close objects are to the rear end. We'll go ahead and put it back into park. You have an electronic park and brake, all your cup holders. Then opening up the center console, you can click the left button to open up the whole thing. Closing it back down, hitting the right button down below, you now open up this little tray. So a good amount of storage in there. Take a look at the actual glove box. Quite a lot of space in there, and you even do get a little storage shelf. Then another look at the interior. Ford does use real leather for the interior seating. Has a great feel to it. It looks really nice too. You can opt for a panoramic sunroof. And then you get your garage door opener on the visor. And before we check out the rear, this also does have a touchscreen keypad to unlock and lock the vehicle. The rear seats are very comfortable back here. They do recline. And for driver visibility, the headrests do fold down just to get out of your way. Door panel is finished similarly to the front. You do get the same automatic up and down for the windows. Nice little door handle, a little bit of storage space. Good amount of legroom down here. Your rear vents, and a 3-prong outlet down below that. We get storage pockets in both front seats, and then folding down the center armrests, we get 2 cup holders. And we'll put the headrest back down, and then pulling up on this lever, we'll fold down the seats. They fold down nice and flat, and just unhooking the seat belt, you can get that right out of your way, but plenty of storage down there. And then moving to the rear, this has a foot activated power liftgate, so all I'm gonna do is wave my foot right under it, and it pops right open. And one thing I have noticed, that system actually works very well in this car. It's not twitchy at all, it seems to work every time. So pretty good amount of space. We got an extra floor mat in here, just an all-weather one. This opens up for the spare tire. But with the seat up, that's about the space you get. Definitely fit quite a lot of storage back here. And of course, as you can see with the seat down, you get a lot of space all the way up to the front seats. And then you can either use the key fob, the button in the dash, or just right here. Go ahead and close the tailgate. So cruising now, going about 60 miles an hour. One thing that I've noticed is that this car is very comfortable and smooth. You don't really hear any wind noise or road noise or any kind of tire noise like that. It's pretty comfortable. The suspension seems to do a really good job just absorbing the bumps. And it's just a kind of a normal car that's easy to drive and pretty comfortable. I mentioned earlier that I like the seats a lot and they're comfortable. You can move them in so many different ways to get them adjusted properly. The support in them is really nice with the lumbar support. They're nice materials and everything, so pretty easy to drive and just a smooth vehicle. The steering wheel is in a good place. You can move it pretty easily and it's nice to hold, has good thumb supports in it, you have a good firm grip on it. Overall, the ergonomics I think are pretty good, easy to get to all the different buttons. The visibility in the car is really good. Looking out the front windshield, you have so much space. It's a very large piece of glass, so you have a lot of visibility. Looking over your left and right shoulder, it's still pretty good. You have very minimal blind spots, even all the way in the back. You can see very well, and then looking over your left shoulder, you can easily see out of the rear window. So overall, visibility is really good in the car. The side mirrors do a great job. Of course, you have the blind spot monitoring to help you out, and then when backing up with the backup camera and the sensors, and you do have cross traffic alert. So tight parking spaces, highway driving, it's very easy to maneuver, easy to see out of, and like I said, pretty comfortable. Now, being that this car is front-wheel drive, some things that I have noticed in the competitor front-wheel drive vehicles, when you slam on the brakes, the steering wheel gets very heavy. But what I've noticed with this car, it doesn't change anything. So slowing down for a turn and turning the wheel, the steering wheel is exactly the same feeling as when you're accelerating. So some of the front-wheel drive cars in this class, particularly the RAV4, which is what we tested a lot, but with that kind of car, it just seems like when you slam on the brakes, the steering wheel's heavy, and then when you accelerate, the steering wheel is very light. So I'm not a fan of that driving at all. That's one of the downsides of a front-wheel drive car. But I think Ford did a really good job with this front-wheel drive system because it's easy to steer and you just don't get any differences like that. I did also test out the 2-liter with the all-wheel drive in the Escape, and I really didn't like that in the slow speeds. At a dead stop, every time I gave it some gas, it spun the tires, which was kind of weird. But then once you are moving, of course, that 2-liter engine packs a lot more punch than this one. But even with that said, I think the 1.5 still is sufficient in power. So getting up to some speed now. The turbo, kicks right in. Getting right up to about 50 miles an hour, about 60 now. So it's pretty peppy, it's a little tiny engine, only 1.5 liters. With a little turbo on it, it gives it the extra power you need. And with the full boost hitting at 2,000 RPM, you have all your power at that down low RPM. You can get up and go really easily. And once you are cruising, so I'm going, let's go to 45 right now, just accelerating. Downshift and the turbo kicks in, and that got me right up to speed. So it's a peppy little engine. I don't think you would be disappointed in it at all. The naturally aspirated engine, I would expect it to be a little bit boggy in the lower RPM, being that it needs to get to about 4,000 RPM before it gets its maximum torque. So I like the 1.5 a lot. It's got a lot of the power that you need. Good gas mileage, of course. And with the auto start stop feature at a red light, the engine has shut off right now to conserve fuel. As soon as I let my foot off the brake, the engine started right back up. So that's a pretty good system to have. You can shut it off if you don't like it. And now we'll do another acceleration. Just give it some gas. It gets right up to speed. It doesn't sound like it's working too hard either. I know some of the tiny little 4-cylinder turbos, they really have to work hard to get up and go. But this one, it seems pretty sufficient. We'll pop it down into sport mode and use the paddle shifters a little bit. Not like most owners are going to use them, but it is nice if you are at all towing. I think you can tow 1,500 to 2,000 pounds depending on what engine you go for. At least you can hold it in the right gear if you need to. Or if you are trying to have a little bit of sports car fun, you can shift yourself and do it. So paddle shifters do work a little slow, but regardless, the transmission shifts very nicely. The 6-speed gets you a nice lower RPM when cruising on the highway. And overall, I think driving the Escape is really nice. Comparing it to other smaller SUVs like this, I certainly like this the most. That's why we ended up buying one. But it seems pretty good. It's got a lot of storage in the back. It's easy to get in and out of. I like how it does have a power liftgate. It's very convenient and it works really well using the key fob or the button on the dash or the foot activation. So that's a nice feature. And the rear seats are really comfortable. They have quite a lot of legroom and there's a lot of headroom in this car. That's like 7 or 8 inches. So tons of headroom. You don't feel like you're tight or confined in the car. It's really roomy. So there's a full look and test drive of the 2017 Ford Escape with a 1.5 EcoBoost and the titanium trim level. I'm really impressed with the car. I think Ford did a really good job on the Escape. Back in the day, it used to be a cheap entry-level SUV, but now with what they've been doing, it's a very premium feeling SUV. It's got a lot of the nice creature comforts that you find in much more expensive cars. And comparing it to vehicles at the same price point, I think this actually comes out on top, in my opinion at least. I really like the quality of it, the ride of it, and just the overall look is really nice. So I hope you all enjoyed the full look of the 2017 Ford Escape Titanium with a 1.5 EcoBoost. Huge thank you to my mom for letting me use her car for today's video. Check out the link to her 2 sons' YouTube channel in the description below. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.